So tonight we have a rather unusual presentation. The presentation is actually, in my opinion, it's not only rare within Fairfield County with what you're about to see, but I'm looking at it as really being quite a distinct presentation because we're going to use a dual lens, meaning that we have two presentations. One will be on nutritional guidance, advanced nutritional guidance, and the other one will be on veganism regimens, labels about it, and low carbon foods. So again, in my opinion, I think this is a rare find to have not only it will be recorded, but to have such an interactive session, because at HAYVN with these kinds of sessions, we do like to make it as interactive as possible because it's not about just being interesting and memorable, but what may resonate with all of you, in particular with your lifestyles or maybe even professionally. And so with that said, we have Linda Stevens next to me and Leann Kelly. Linda will kick it off as it relates to, again, advanced nutritional guidance. Yes, that's about healthy food, but it's also about food that's like our everyday metabolism. And so that's not just going to be about antioxidants and supplements. She's going to also dive into areas that we feel will most resonate with all of you. We're going to talk about brain health, cellular aging, hormonal therapy. So these are, again, kind of a synergy of different topics that we find that you'll find really interesting and, again, hopefully resonate with any questions. After her will be Leann Kelly. Leann is a 30-year certified vegan practitioner. She knows a lot about a lot of things in veganism. Probably there's very little she doesn't know, including emerging trends. And yes, she'll talk about the regimens, but she'll also talk about the low carbon effect, because at the end of the day, there's really this never-ending quest for nutritional perfection. And with us tonight, it's also about that low carbon food output. And so she'll talk to you about what that means. At the root of it, you know, without the pun, it's soil health. And so she'll talk about that as well and what that means. And again, it is recorded, so if anyone forgets anything, we will have a recorded link after the session sent via emails. And so with that said, both of these also, I'm happy to say, both of these panelists are really expert in their spheres of influence. Linda Stevens of Linda Stevens Health and Wellness really started off first with fitness, and now she's much more into advanced nutritional guidance. You'll hear more about her that way. And again, Leann has been a 30-year vegan trained, vegan certified specialist. So why don't we then start off with, if both of you can please tell us a bit about your background, how you got into the wild world of health and wellness, but with your niche expertise, and then what you're currently doing, and then we'll go from there. So
absolutely. So I am Linda Stevens. I am the owner of Linda Stevens Health and Wellness, and my career trajectory is I first started out working on Wall Street. My undergraduate degree is in business and economics. I worked in equity sales and trading for about 10 to 12 years. Then I became a mom. But I've always enjoyed working out and taking care of myself. It was something that was a cornerstone of my life. And a friend of mine simply said to me, hey, you like to work out. This is when I had small kids. Why don't you get your personal training certification and come teach some classes for me in downtown Stamford in one of the Tresser office buildings? And I did. And that's how it started. I became a personal trainer, little kids at home. Then I dipped my toe in the water of competitive bodybuilding, did that as an amateur for 4 years, turned IFBB figure pro, then competed another 5 years as a pro bodybuilder. And my business took a turn as I decided I wanted to understand more about our bodies. I know how to exercise, I know the benefits of exercise, but what happens when we consume foods? What happens after we take it in and it goes through? Like, what happens? So I decided to go back to school at 42 and went for my master's degree in clinical nutrition at the University of Bridgeport. But because my degree was business, I had to take some prereqs, I had to take chemistry, which I hadn't had since high school, and I'm 42, and I took chemistry, high school chemistry at, 16. So did that, a lot of tears, a lot of crying, some tutors, it was a whole thing, but we got through it, and eventually didn't need the tutor, and graduated magna cum laude, and got straight A's in all my chemistry classes, but graduated and then turned my business to more nutrition-based with a fitness component. And then as I started going through my own hormonal menopausal journey, I'm 57, at about 52, 53, things started to not go so well, and I was confused. I'm like, I take care of myself, why do I feel like I'm breaking down? And it was a little bit scary, like back pain, shoulder pain, just not feeling so hot. Did a lot of research, talked to some hormone doctors, did a lot more research, read some books. I heard hormones cause cancer, and we're gonna talk a little bit about that tonight. Realized that's all a myth, it's not true, so don't listen to that. If a doctor tells you that, find a new doctor. And I've been on hormone therapy for 2.5 years, and it's night and day. Bones, I do DEXA scans once a year. Bone density keeps going up, keeps getting better and better and better because of estrogen, estradiol. And just aches and pains have gone away. I sleep great. I don't have hot flashes. I don't have anxiety anymore. I mean, it's amazing. So what Leann and I do together is we primarily work with women. We do have some male clients, but our goal really is the 40, 50 and over women, as I like to say. And we really take the woman as a whole, and we have a very long conversation with them initially, and really understand what's going on with her. And then we build a lifestyle. We don't diet people. We're not gonna put you on a keto plan so you can lose a bunch of weight and then say, see ya, and you put it all back on and you come back to us again. We're gonna change your lifestyle through food, through exercise, through supplementation, through sleep, through hydration, and much more. And having Leann on team is awesome because she brings a whole new skill set. I am an animal protein eater. We've talked about this, we joke around about it.
We're still friends.
But we have different views on protein, but it's good because we can work with anybody with whatever their dietary issues are. Gluten-free, food sensitivities, they want to be a vegan, they want to sort of be plant-based, but they still want to eat some chicken, or like we can work with anyone. So that's who I am, Leann Kelly.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm Leann Kelly. I'm 54. I've known Linda for 15 years now. Are we
Started
getting there?
as a client.
Yeah, I started as
became a friend.
a bodybuilding client, but let me go back a little bit. So my journey started, I've always loved health and fitness. I was down in the basement. My sister's 12 years older, and we were down in the basement doing Jane Fonda videos when I was like 11 and 12. Always loved fitness. And my sister was a cheerleader for, now it's the Washington Commanders, so I always had good role models for fitness and health. And so I have always also been an animal lover. So some things didn't quite add up for me as I was eating growing up in a very traditional family. And I saw my dad and my mom start to have some heart issues. And for them, a lot of fixing those heart issues came from Dr. Dean Ornish. So taking out meat, taking out a lot of the fats, beans, veggies, and I just saw that and I was like, wait, I'm putting 2 and 2 together here in addition to just knowing where my particular ethics lie. And so I went to college to be an English lit teacher. And as I was there, I had to take a gym class. I get my gym credits. And I took a yoga class with this amazing woman in DC, Sarah Beth Forster. She's kind of famous around in those parts. And she said, you know what, you have this great energy. You should be a yoga teacher. And so 2 years I spent going in and out of the ashram, learning all the ins and outs. And nothing could have gone better with my way of thinking in terms of how yogis eat, practicing ahimsa, which is nonviolence, and we see that on our plate even. We see that as an act of peace, you know, what you have on your plate. So it went from there. My holistic wellness journey began with yoga, really. So from there, I was a yoga teacher, group fitness, a mom certainly. I met Linda and I started to dip my toe into bodybuilding. And since then, she encouraged me to get my personal training certification, my nutrition cert. And from there, a whole world kind of opened up where I could start to, not only can I help people that want to eat omnivorous, however they want to eat, but I started to really investigate and go deeper into that plant-based lifestyle and be able to help people who not only want to jump all the way in and be a vegan, but who want to say, you know, I just want to dabble a couple meals a week, or I just want to see what it's about. And, you know, to know that you can get there in increments. It's not an all or nothing thing, but to be able to work with people and help them get a little chance, a little sampling of that plant-based lifestyle. And then as Linda said, together over the years, our relationship has evolved. We're kind of we're a super great team because we do bring our different perspectives, but we also have the same background too. You know, the personal training, the nutrition, and we really are able to serve a wide range of clients and also serve their needs in that holistic manner. That's not just, you know, their muscles and their nutrition, but, you know, I have breathwork certification and yoga certification. So we can really, between the two of us, really serve our clients as a whole person, right? Body, mind, and emotions, all of those things together. So I'm really excited to see all of you and to be able to bring both of our spheres of knowledge to you that go so well together. Thank you.
Excellent.
Okay, I get to get started. All right, so again, welcome, thank you. And I want to make this interactional, so if you have a question, you can either just shout it out or raise your hands. Let's have a conversation. So we're going to talk about cognitive health. We're going to talk about a lot of different things tonight. We're going to talk about some food stuff too, but it's not going to be like your traditional nutritional discussion. But you can certainly ask me any questions if you want to about macros and foods and things. But I'm starting with this slide first, caffeine, because a lot of people always ask me, is caffeine good for you? Is it not good for you? Like what does it do? It does make me feel good. Some people drink a lot of coffee all day long. Some people drink a little bit. I do drink coffee in the morning. When we work with our clients, sometimes when we put them on their lifestyle plan, you know, one of the questions is, can I still have coffee? And I'm like, yes, you can still have coffee. We talk about what they put in it, that's another conversation. But yes, coffee is okay. And, you know, like anything else in moderation. You know, we use it because it's social, right? Hey, let's get together, let's have a cup of coffee, let's have some tea, let's sit and talk to each other. So it's social. It does boost our alertness and our mood. And it will give you that alert feeling in the morning, but my concern sometimes is that people will use it as a crutch and they'll use it all day long because they're probably not eating enough food and they don't have energy. We're going to talk about mitochondrial health in the next slide. But so that is the concern. Yes, caffeine is okay, you can enjoy it, it is good for you. If anyone here, is anyone here familiar with Dr. David Perlmutter? Okay, he's written a few books, but he's very much, you should check him out on Instagram, but he talks a lot about cognitive health. That's really his area. And he does talk a lot about caffeine and how it is good for the brain because it promotes blood flow. And it is good to help prevent Alzheimer's and dementia. Again, it's, you know, it's how much consumption, right? If you're drinking a lot of coffee, we need to talk about what's going on during the rest of your day.
Isn't there though, also just interject with that, the point of adrenal health, so wouldn't it also be straining the adrenals potentially on the other side?
Again, it depends on consumption.
Yeah.
So if you have people that are going to Starbucks or Dunkin' in the morning and they got the big, you know what they look like, right? Yeah. The big cups, and they're drinking 2 or 3 of those a day, and coffee has a half-life, or caffeine has a half-life of 5 hours. Huh. So if you're drinking coffee at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you're still going to have 50% of that caffeine in your system. So if you're sensitive to sleep, or if you're sensitive to caffeine, it's going to definitely affect your sleep. And if you're a woman in midlife, ladies, you're already probably having problems sleeping, so that's not going to help, right? We might be a little bit sluggish if we're in midlife because hormones are off and maybe thyroid's off a little bit, and then you're using coffee, and then you go to bed at night and you can't sleep.
One other quick question, does that also tie in with cortisol? I'm assuming when people get up in the middle of the night, is it kind of like an enemy with, it just ignites the cortisol?
It ignites the cortisol.
Where people wake up then in the middle of the night, okay.
People wake up in the middle of the night, so then they can't get back to sleep because they might start thinking. But as Lisa said, you can see that there's adrenal strain. And the other thing about caffeine that's important is it is a diuretic. So if you're drinking a lot of coffee during the day, you're peeing a lot and you're flushing out minerals. So now you're causing some nutritional deficiencies because you're drinking a lot of coffee, you're not hydrating with water to replace that, and you're losing a lot of your electrolytes. And if you're doing that day after day after day after day, you know, you can start to develop some health concerns. So it is important to look. So the risks, dehydration, mineral loss, adrenal strain, sleep disruption, but there are also some benefits, right? It gives you some neuroprotection. It does give you a little bit of energy, and it tastes good, and it can be social. So it's almost, alcohol is another conversation. I don't think I have anything in here on that slide, but we're actually doing a webinar at the end of the month on alcohol. But it really just depends, again, on consumption, what time of the day, and how much water you're consuming too, to replace what you're losing.
Could there be a correlation with the green tea then? Because I know it has, I think it's thiamine, is
Yeah.
it? So if one had green tea, is all things equal? I would assume not. In
Green
terms
tea
of-
has less caffeine.
But the kind of caffeine and how it's
It's better for
digested-
you, and it's an antioxidant, so yes.
So it shouldn't affect sleep as much.
It shouldn't
with
affect
the
sleep
same
as
amount.
much, but if you're sensitive, you probably don't want to have anything caffeinated at night. And like even dark chocolate could have some caffeine in it
Yeah.
too. So
Yeah.
people sometimes like, well, I want to have a little dark chocolate at night before I go to bed. It depends. I can't eat dark chocolate at night before I go to bed because I'm like this. So, so you just want to be aware of that. All right, so let's talk a little bit about cellular aging and longevity, right? It's the buzzword now, longevity, anti-aging, you know, anyone, what's the guy that did the Netflix, Brian, that wants to live forever?
Yeah, I know who he is, I can't
Who
think
saw
of his
that,
last name.
that documentary on Netflix,
Yeah.
where Don't Age is
Brian
what it's
Johnson,
called?
yeah, Johnson.
Anyone, did you see that?
150.
Yeah, something like that. So he talks a lot about like the longevity, anti-aging, cellular health. So who is familiar with mitochondria and telomeres? Who's familiar with that term? Okay, good. So your mitochondria, as you probably remember, high school biology is a, what do they say? It's a little powerhouse of the cell, or the con ed of the cell. So when you eat food, it goes into your cell, goes into the mitochondria, and it makes energy, which is ATP. And we're going to talk about some new supplements that are coming out that everyone's asking about, NAD and some other things. So your mitochondria is what's going to keep you energetic. But as we get older, it doesn't work as efficiently. But there are ways to counteract that through food and exercise, keeping your body working efficiently by the foods that you put in your body and how you move your body. So you want to take care of your mitochondria because it's going to keep you feeling younger as you get older, and that's what we all want. Who doesn't want that? I know I want that. And then telomeres, simply, if you think, it's been described as like a shoelace, right? Take a shoelace, it's your DNA strand. On the end of that shoelace, we have the little plastic cap, if anybody, Deb does, little plastic cap. Those are your telomeres. And as your cells divide and repair and regenerate, those telomeres get snipped, snip, 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 and they get shorter and shorter and shorter. And that also goes to aging. The way to counteract that, to keep your telomeres healthy, is through, anybody want to guess? 2 things?
Sleep.
Exercise.
Protein.
Yes.
Protein and,
Yep.
and exercise.
Exactly. Your nutrition and your movement is going to keep your mitochondria healthy and keep your telomeres younger.
Is
as
there a
you
way
age.
to test telomeres, dare I ask? I mean,
I think there is. There are like DNA, I think, snips that you can
Okay.
do. So you have to go to someone that does that, but you can
Definitely not
pretty
the
much
blood test for sure then, it's gotta be a
Yeah,
deeper level.
there's-
Just have to think of it.
You can pretty much test so much. There's so many things you can do now. We'll talk a little bit about lab work too and what to look for. And so then mitochondria and telomeres are the drivers of how you're going to age, how you're going to feel. You take care of your little mitochondria and your telomeres, and you're going to be doing pretty well, right? You're going to probably fend off disease, cancers, things like that. Nutrition multipliers. So things that are going to help you through your food. Protein intake, right? Anyone who's on social media, I hear everybody talk about protein all the time. I know I do. I'm constantly putting out content on protein intake, but it's really important. And Leann will talk about how to get it through a plant-based lifestyle. The best way is animal protein, because you get all your amino acids. And amino acids are the building blocks of protein. So you want to make sure that you're getting enough protein every day because it's in every cell in your body. So when I talk to women, a lot of times they'll say, yeah, I think I eat okay, and then they tell me how they eat, and they're like, well, I have an egg with a piece of toast at breakfast. Does anybody know how much protein is in one egg?
6.
Yeah, great.
So we need
Good.
two eggs.
So, I mean, what do you think, like, an average person, woman, male, how much protein in grams do you think you need a day?
For postmenopausal, 72 per day.
So a good rule of thumb, like what Jeffrey said, is it's usually about 1 gram of protein per pound of ideal body weight. So if you're trying to lose weight, you want to find whatever you want your magic number to be, and you want to consume that much. So if you're 160 pounds, but you want to be 130, you probably want to consume about 130 grams of protein a day. But it's important because it's not that much. I mean, you really should be eating 2 to 3 eggs in the morning and some egg whites. Add egg whites to it to bump that protein up, because 1 egg is 6 grams of protein. So if someone says I have an egg and a piece of toast, I'm like, you're getting 6 grams of protein. What else are you eating there? Well, that's it. And a banana. I'm like, there's no protein in banana.
And we
So
used to-
it's
So
a shake, for instance, like my shake has
Protein shake?
25 grams of protein.
Good.
And I add the Vita something,
Okay.
Hair Growth has 16.
Mhm.
I get, that's
Like collagen powder?
Yes, that's 44 grams of protein in the morning. I do that because it's hard for me to eat, like for instance, if I have one kind of tuna, which is like, depending on the brand.
It's about 4 ounces. A can is about 4 ounces, I think. A can of tuna in water is about 4 ounces of protein, which you want to go like 4 to 5 ounces at a serving every time you sit down and eat, or you want to think about 25 to 35 grams of protein. It's about the same. So 4 to 5 ounces, if you want to do ounces, it's about 25 to 35 grams of protein. And then just a footnote too, collagen powder, yes, is protein, but it's not a complete protein because it doesn't have all your amino acids in it. So yes, it will bump up a protein shake, because I put a scoop of Vital Proteins in my shake every day. It does add, because it gives you the joint protection. The collagen powder helps with skin, hair, nails, joint protection. But it's not, it doesn't add to the total of the protein, what's in the protein powder. If you're getting 25 grams, it's all your amino acids. The collagen does bump it up a little bit, but it's not like the protein powder. So sometimes people will say, well, I put collagen powder in my coffee in the morning. I'm like, well, that's great, but you really should be having maybe a couple of eggs with that, or some yogurt, or some cottage cheese.
When it comes to protein shakes, what are your thoughts on whey protein?
Yeah, I use
that's the best.
I use a whey casein blend. Whey protein is one type of protein. It's fast acting. The casein is a little bit slower digesting, so I have one that's like 80-20. The casein makes it a little bit thicker. Leann will talk about some plant-based protein powders, but yes, protein shakes are great.
Okay.
Highly
Pardon me,
recommend.
just a quick question.
Sure.
To get a high octane protein breakfast.
Yes.
It's really not, I find things very, so filling, you feel like then you have a lock on your stomach. What would be something that would give you good, sustained protein that's not so you don't feel like so overstuffed?
Oh, so you could easily do like a cup of yogurt, 3/4 of a cup to a cup of yogurt. Same with cottage cheese. Those are great protein sources. You could make a shake in the morning, mix it with almond milk or water.
Sometimes with avocado.
Yep, great.
And then add a little egg to give it.
Yep, you could add eggs and cottage cheese and eggs together are awesome. So, yes,
If you wanna lose weight without losing muscles,
yes,
so you still can eat an amount of protein for your ideal weight?
exactly.
You
Yes,
still can?
yes. Yeah.
So if you want to lose,
So, because hang on one second, if you're trying to lose, say you want to lose 20 pounds.
Yeah.
And say you're 150 pounds, you want to lose 20, so like 130 would be your ideal body weight. I would probably have you start at least around 130. You're still giving yourself enough protein to build muscle, but it's also enough so that you can start to lose body fat.
so if I understand,
It's different than if you're trying to bulk and you're trying to eat a lot more protein because you want to build.
Yeah.
So it's hard to build and lose body fat at the same time. It's almost two separate things, but you still can reduce calories a bit and still have enough energy to lift and build and grow. But if you really want to build muscle first, then you probably want to be in a little bit of a surplus. You don't have to get sloppy about it, but you can eat a little bit more food and focus on your lifts to make sure that you're really utilizing your fuel when you're lifting.
So there is a calculation for how much protein. What about calories?
For you,
Yeah.
it would really, I would have to sit down and talk to you or whomever, so I could really see what your lifestyle is, what your goals are, and what you want to do. How do you lift in the gym? So like what's your rep range? How are you lifting and all that? And then put together a program so that we're making sure that you're taking in enough macronutrients to support your output. You have to think about this too. If you are exercising, you've got to think also about your daily calorie expenditure, just like getting up, walking around, eyes blinking, all the things that your body does without even thinking about it. Your heart's beating, your blood's pumping, right? You're breathing. So you want to just make sure that you're supporting all those processes too.
Is there anything from a vitamin standpoint, I'm thinking potentially B complex, like 50 milligrams to help support that? Because
Energy?
yeah,
protein?
well, with the protein, in terms of dropping weight, B complex metabolism, is there a correlation?
You could definitely take a B complex if you're eating.
I'm thinking would speed up metabolism, which might help the person, not me, but.
The best way to
Dropping
speed up your metabolism really is to exercise and lift weights.
Okay.
That's really the best way is to get heavy weights in your hand and do that kind of work. That's going to build your muscle. It's going to force your muscles to work, and you're breaking the tissue down so that you're forcing your body to come back in and repair the muscle. And you get stronger, and that's how you do it. It's really the best way to speed up your metabolism is through weight training.
so weight training, and is there any a specific amount of time that has to be dedicated to the weight training every day? Well, it depends on each person.
I say
sure.
a minimum of 3 times a week.
We'll
Should
have
be
to-
Half
strength
an
training.
hour?
Yeah, we're gonna.
We have to,
So,
that's-
anyways, but for cellular aging and longevity, there are some great supplements you can use. NAD, I'm sure, has everyone heard of NAD lately? It's kind of the new buzz. It's great to make energy, ATP. If you look at glucose metabolism, when you eat food, you break it down into glucose. That's how your body makes energy. NAD is a supplement that, you know, can give you that boost. It is kind of like the buzz supplement right now. Collagen powder it was at one point. It's always things coming in. Different types of foods that can mimic fasting. But the key takeaway here is that your nutrition, how you fuel your body and take care of yourself, can really slow decline, like illness and aging, and promote vitality so that you feel good and energetic no matter what age you are, as you should. Brain health and nutrition. Who here has heard them call the gut as the second brain? Right? The gut is the second brain. Why? Because you guys know if you're constipated, you don't go to the bathroom, you eat something that upsets your GI, you're bloated, you're distended, how does it make you feel?
Can't think.
Yeah,
Can't think.
exactly.
And
Can't
your
think,
mind is no clarity.
energy's in the tank, you don't feel great, right? So there's a gut-brain axis. So you just want to make sure that you're eating foods that help promote good gut health, dark green leafy vegetables, fermented foods. I think you're going to touch on that a little bit, right? Sardines, fatty fish, good organic. If you're going to eat beef, I eat grass-fed beef, animals that forage. If you're going to eat chicken, I highly recommend like a Bell and Evans type because the way they process their chicken is much better. They air chill it versus most companies will put their chicken through a bleach wash. So Bell and Evans is a great chicken to use. Organic fish, the smash fish, I think it's sardines, mackerel, anchovies, salmon, I think it's herring.
Yeah.
So you can remember that acronym. Those are your fatty fishes that are great, that are high in omega-3s. And then there's great supplements. NAC promotes glutathione production. Does anyone know what glutathione is? N-acetylcysteine is the supplement. A good dose of NAC is about 1,800 milligrams. So if you buy I have capsules that are 600. I take 3 every morning. NAC helps you make more glutathione, which is made in your liver, which is in every cell in your body. It's the most powerful antioxidant we have in our bodies. So by promoting glutathione production, again, you're keeping your cells healthy. We're thinking about cellular health. What can I do to keep my cells healthy so that my mitochondria are working efficiently and I feel good and energetic, okay? We have, yes?
You know, can you address like fatty liver? Is that, because the doctor said, you know, more and more Americans have fatty liver.
Yeah, really quickly, fatty liver is just when you eat a poor diet, processed foods and whatnot, you will store fat in your liver and then it causes a lot of health problems. And it's called non-alcoholic fatty liver. So if you know anyone that may, you know, when people have a drinking problem and they develop cirrhosis of the liver, it's a similar
And
degradation.
potentially it would seem like omega-6 and linoleic acid
Yeah,
would
you
be
want to
a
stick with your
culprit with that.
omega-3s.
Yeah,
The others
omega-6.
are pro-inflammatory. And then we have great supplements like DHEA, which is made in your adrenal glands, but it promotes brain health, it promotes helping you to build muscle. It's a precursor to testosterone. So I use it a lot with my female clients that are not on HRT, but I am on HRT and I also still take DHEA. But it's a precursor to testosterone, which helps you build muscle, retain muscle, lose body fat, helps your libido, and it helps keep your brain intact. So DHEA is another supplement you can use. And then butyrate is simply a short-chain fatty acid that's made in your gut through certain types of foods that you can eat, but it promotes good gut health. Again, going back to the gut-brain axis. And polyphenols are dark vegetables like grapes, beets, things like that have a lot of color to them that give you a lot of antioxidant properties. But you know, food plus targeted supplements will give you the best results to help keep your gut happy, which will help keep your brain happy. And we want to protect our brains only because we're very much affected to cognitive decline as we get older. Kate?
Sorry, so the NAC supplements have all those 3 components you just mentioned?
NAC is just glutathione. Then DHEA is
okay.
separate, butyrate is separate.
Oh, okay, got it.
Are they over the counter?
Yes, you can get them, but if you are interested in anything that I talk about tonight, ask me because I have a way to be able to get you everything that you need, really good quality supplements if you want them versus buying them on Amazon or in a store that you don't know how long they've been sitting in a box or on a shelf.
There's a lot of variance with the supplements.
Yes.
She knows.
Again, and quickly, optimizing your physiology, how your body works in balance, and healthy versus sick, resilience versus breakdown, pollutive atmosphere, oxidative stress, toxic burden. I'll touch just briefly on endocrine disruptors, which are just toxins in our environment. And ladies, I read somewhere that we can put on 35 to 100 chemicals on our body before we even leave the house in the morning, through the lotions and the potions and the makeup and the shampoo and the conditioner and all the stuff that we use. And I have some great clean lines that I work with that I use personally, so if you want more info on that, I'm happy to do that. But you just really want to think about, K-cups, if you're making coffee and you get a Keurig, the plastic, that hot water is running through the plastic and then you're consuming that. So little things, you can buy little stainless steel ones. I have one at home, I fill it up and I put it in my Keurig and I still can make my coffee.
A good aid in trying to see what products have hormone disruptors is Yucca.
I was
just gonna say that.
Thank you. Thank you for mentioning that.
Makeup.
Yeah, it's important, and for guys too. Guys, they have Old Spice, and there's all these things now, and guys smell great, but it's like, it's a lot of chemicals you're putting into your body.
Scary.
And it affects your hormone balance, it really does, and it'll affect if you're trying to build muscle, or lose weight, or, whatever your goal is. So, those, you just wanna be sure about what you're doing to yourself every day. And then, of course, we can't really control the air and the water, but Lisa's here.
Yeah.
And you can. She's a plant.
We can control the air. I can help you control the
Yes,
air.
we have our sustainable interior designer here
Yes.
also with us. But it sounds like a lot, but it really isn't. And if anybody here wants to have a conversation offline, Leann and I always give a complimentary consult to anyone that's here tonight if you want to talk about yourself in more detail. And because I want to be aware of time. But just some emerging trends. I think I'm coming to the end of my presentation. But we have postbiotics. So we now there are prebiotics. Everybody knows prebiotics, right? Probiotics, we all know what probiotics are. And then now what they're looking into now is postbiotics. So the prebiotics is the bacteria that feeds the probiotics, right? The probiotics keep your gut healthy. And you've got the postbiotics like butyrate, your foods, things like potatoes, rice, certain foods that don't break down in the small intestine, they move into this large intestine, and that's where you make butyrate, which helps keep your gut healthy as well. So you've got pre-post, or prebiotics, probiotics, and postbiotics. It's a lot. I'll touch on peptide therapy really quickly. Who's here has heard of peptide therapy? It's kind of all the rage right now, right? I had actually a great conversation with a doctor this morning who's actually my hormone doctor, and we talked about peptides because I was interested in some that mimic growth hormone and some that mimic joint repair and cellular repair. And there's a couple schools of thought. People will swear by it. You'll hear people say, oh my God, I use all BPC 157 and I've got this one and that one. And then talking to him today, he's like, some people use it and say yeah, some people say no. He's like, so it's really more on an individual basis. It isn't an investment.
Is it synthetic? It's a synthetic made?
I think so, I'm not sure, but anything that has to be made is synthetic, so, but yes, and you usually inject them or you can take them orally.
Okay.
But there's a lot of good research behind them, so I was doing a little research for myself. And then of course we talked about mitochondrial support, nitric oxide, I highly recommend you check out Dr. Nathan Bryan. He's done a lot of studies on nitric oxide. It's a vasodilator, it promotes blood flow. So it keeps your brain healthy, keeps your endothelial lining, which is inside your arteries, healthy, pliable, because as we get older, through lifestyle, that little opening in your arteries can start to stiffen up and close up. Using nitric oxide, I'll tell you a quick.
Is it a supplement?
You can get a supplement, but you can get it through eating arugula and beets.
That's it?
Yeah. Beet powders, you've heard of beet powders, right? Which are really a big waste of money. And there is a supplement that you can use, but basically eating beets itself or using arugula will help raise your nitric oxide level, and not using fluoride toothpaste or mouthwash, because that kills your natural nitric oxide production. So if you're doing those two things, go home tonight and dump the Listerine.
And do you eat the beets cooked or not?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And then just quickly to touch on HRT and TRT, hormone replacement therapy for women to help with hormonal imbalances. What is that? Estradiol, progesterone, testosterone, and you also do want to look at your thyroid, full thyroid. thyroid stimulating hormone, free T3, free T4. That is my protocol. I am on hormones. I'm happy to answer any questions about that.
Okay.
And it promotes bone health, promotes cognitive health, cognitive cardiovascular health. And then TRT for guys, testosterone replacement therapy. Guys, women go through menopause, guys go through andropause. It's a real thing. Probably like mid-40s or so, guys start to lose their testosterone levels, and it affects how they build muscle, how they sleep, their libido, their cognitive health, their bone health. So it's important. It's a real thing to be aware of. And conclusion, this is some of the stuff we went through. I probably took a little more time than I should have, sorry.
That's okay.
But if anyone has any questions, you can ask me now, or you want to wait?
We'll wait till after her presentation. Sure.
Come next.
There we are.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, so let's dive right in. You guys might have to like pull me off with the hook because I can stay here for 2 hours. But so the kind of the angle we're taking with this is, of course, showing how to lower our carbon footprint, right? Something so important right now. But also just a little bit in general about plant-based eating, because there's a lot of different, you hear plant-based eating, it's kind of a buzzword and a term now, and it's like, what does that even mean? So let's start with, let's see if I'm gonna do this right.
Just push the arrow.
There we go. Okay, I just needed your finger. So plant-based diets decoded. Plant-based across the board, if someone says, I'm a plant-based eater, it might mean they sometimes occasionally have a plant-based meal. It may mean they're vegan or vegetarian. So let's just decode these. So vegan is no meat, but also no animal products. So no dairy, eggs, fish, fowl. So you'll meet someone occasionally that's like, I'm vegan and I'm going out for some fish. And it's like, no, nothing. Vegans and vegetarians both don't eat fish. So vegetarians may phase in a little dairy, some eggs, a combination of the two perhaps, but again, nothing with a face on for vegetarians. So flexitarians, which is becoming a really large part of the population now, that's a person that they're open to plant-based eating. They may have a meat-free Monday on their chart, on their plan for the week, but they also still phase in some meat-based meals as well. But they're largely, most the flexitarians, largely are plant-based eaters. And then pescatarians, you hear that a lot too lately, that's quite a buzz. They eat fish, but no meat or fowl. And again, vegans, vegetarians don't eat fish, so. It makes me smile because it's this question that people ask vegans and vegetarians a lot. So why do people eat plant-based diets? So here's just a little cross-section. Certainly for ethical reasons for the animals, and that across the board motivates a lot of people to become vegan in particular. Environmental concerns, drum roll please. So greenhouse gas emissions is just scratching the surface, right? So we think about water pollution, runoff from factory farming. We think about pollution in the land that's used. We think about arable land being used up for raising cattle, for raising animals for consumption. And really now it becomes a concern, could that arable land be used to feed more people and be more sustainable? And certainly the soil would be more nitrogen rich, perhaps, if beans or vegetables were grown, where we could rotate crops, we could have nitrogen rich soil and have a little more focus on feeding more people. So there's a lot more to that, greenhouse gases. Health reasons, like I said to you guys, my dad, Dr. Ornish, saved his life. So heart health is a great example. I'll give a little more detail about health reasons. And then there are people that have spiritual and cultural beliefs, you know, Jains and Buddhists practicing ahimsa, doing no harm, and that translating onto their plate as well. Okay, Linda, how am I doing this wrong? Yeah, I'm gonna have you be my assistant, thank you. There we go, you're so good. All right, sorry, someone asking something? No? Okay. Health benefits of a plant-based diet. So heart health and a lower risk for type 2 diabetes. Those are two things off the bat. Heart health, of course, generally the fats from a plant-based diet, obviously not animal-based fats. You're getting a higher fiber diet, so that helps a lot with diabetes. Helps with weight management too. The higher fiber content. So even some of the protein sources on vegan and vegetarian diet, Beans in particular, it's a good example. They have such a high fiber content that it really helps with, again, heart, lowering your risk for type 2 diabetes. And certain types of cancer, particularly, for example, we've got prostate cancer. Its studies show it tends to lower the risk for prostate cancer, for endometrial cancer, for cervical cancer. A lot of these cancers are lowered on a plant-based diet, and improved digestion too. Your gut microbiome, as you asked me that one day about fermented foods, when you think about sauerkrauts, kimchi, pickles, all those type of things, a lot of plant-based sources are great for getting that good gut bacteria. So that's something to think about too on a plant-based diet. Thanks, Lynn. And what are some plant-based sources of protein? Certainly soy products. We've got tofu. You guys have probably all seen the block at the store, and you might be like, what do I do with this? I can help you, so ask me after. Tempeh is a fermented, drumroll, tempeh fermented, so that's, again, good for gut bacteria, form of tofu, of soy product. And edamame is just those young green soybeans. You've seen those, you may have thrown them in your salad before, or eaten them to bump up the protein content in your meal. Legumes, lentils, chickpeas, those are some superstars right there. Whole grains. Now, this is something interesting to know. So quinoa and amaranth are actually pseudo grains. So when you think about rice and you think about wheat, things like that, they're from a grass family, they're a wheat family. But quinoa and amaranth are actually from a flat leaf family. So when you think spinach and beets, that's more where quinoa and amaranth are coming from. And the nice thing about quinoa, amaranth, buckwheat, they are complete proteins. So like Linda alluded to, a complete protein has all 9 essential amino acids. So certainly all your soy products and quinoa, amaranth, buckwheat, and you might say, what about lentils and chickpeas? What you would do to make those a complete protein is you would combine them with your rice, with your quinoa certainly, or your amaranth. That would give you a nice, really high protein meal. And then chia seeds, hemp seeds, those are both complete proteins. Now, we were talking about protein powders. The ones I really like are oftentimes pea-based, hemp, rice, and soy-based. And then also nutritional yeast is another nice way to add in a little extra protein, complete protein to your diet. And that's something you can shake on top of your salad. You could add as flavoring. It's a little bit of a cheesy profile. You could add that to any meal you're making, basically.
Right.
I'm ready, thank you. And how much, okay, you guys, any guesses? How much protein does a plant-based eater need? Anybody? The same exact amount.
We should just switch the slide.
I know, the same exact amount. So you figure out what your fighting weight is, meaning do you want to gain muscle, do you want to lose weight? And then you're going to get 1 gram of protein per pound, or on the lower side even 0.7. But if you're really looking to gain that muscle or lose weight and retain that muscle, you want 1 gram of protein. Now, if you're an athlete, and interesting, a lot of endurance athletes are vegan because that gives them that sustained energy. Deb knows, she's saying yes. You may want up to 2 grams of protein per pound of body weight, but that would be someone expending a lot of energy or a lot of looking to really endure. Yeah.
How do, I was looking at the list of things that make up the vegan diet. How do you handle that with people who suffer from IBS? Because many of those things cause bloating.
Right, well, with beans in particular, that's something that you can take an enzyme before you eat. That's called, it has a silly name, but Beano is one of them. And you can take an enzyme before you eat. That helps with bloating. You can have a lot of, like we were talking about earlier, fermented foods. Like tempeh is a good example, even though it's soy-based. Certainly if you have an allergy, to soy, you wouldn't eat it. But that is something that's a fermented version of soy and oftentimes easier on your stomach.
And I know, and I tell you this because I was trying to eat cottage cheese because of the protein content, not because I really like the taste.
Right.
And I had the enzyme, but it bothers my stomach.
Right.
And well, I'm also lactose intolerant.
Well, that's where this lifestyle might be
Yeah.
better. Yeah, we
Yeah.
can talk for sure. Yeah.
You can also, good good culture makes a lactose-free cottage cheese.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Digestive enzymes.
What name?
Kentucky Whole
Yes,
Foods.
exactly.
It's good culture, it's the
That's
best.
for, that's
They
for
do make a
plant-based,
lactose
that could be
Like
for,
pineapple has the problem.
Yeah.
exactly, and
So
that
it's-
helps with
it's not
digesting too. Some
uncommon
people say
Yeah,
they
I
can't
used to
digest
take it.
beans
A
or
reaction.
whatever.
Lisi, Cortese, and Licasi.
Exactly.
Ready to switch?
Yep, I'm all ready. Okay, so what are some supplements you need? Lynn, some of these disappeared. I have no idea. But anyway, that's okay. B12, vitamin D, omega-3s, certainly you want to make sure that you have on your plant-based diet. Iron, calcium, iodine, and zinc. Now notice this footnote down here. You're like, wow, that's a lot. We find across the board with our midlife ladies in particular, guess what? They're low on these anyway, despite how
Especially
they,
vitamin D.
right? Despite how they're eating.
Just about
So-
everyone is deficient in vitamin D.
Right, exactly. And something we might not think about as often now, iodine. We're using sea salt, and guess what? It's not iodized. So for your thyroid health, you want to take an iodine supplement anyway, but especially if you're vegan or plant-based. And so, let's see. Oh, and omega-3s. We get them from different sources because we don't eat fish. Algae is one source. Flaxseed certainly, and ahi flour. Those both have a great amount of omega-3s in it. So good for brain health, good for thyroid health, good for overall health, cognitive health.
And walnuts too.
Yes.
Walnuts will break down into omega-3s.
Right on. All right, okay.
Oh,
Thanks. No, you're okay. So little cross section. What are the current stats in the US on plant-based eaters? So you can see vegans, 2.2 to 4%. Vegetarians, 4 to 6, people identifying as vegetarian. And flexitarians, you look at this great, big, huge number, right? But it's interesting, I think, 47%, almost half of America identifies as being a flexitarian, right? So they're open to eating plant-based. They see the value in it. And the reason the gap is so big is because some people eat all meat, but they're open to a vegetarian meal. And then some people eat all plants, and sometimes, they eat Aunt Sally's pot roast on, Christmas or whatever. So while I find the numbers are interesting, and sales of plant-based foods are increasing. So it's interesting, across the board, people are definitely open to trying plant-based meals. And, these numbers going up, small but going up, and flexitarians going way up, so.
It's encouraging.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is too. So, carbon footprint. Which foods have the lowest carbon footprint to produce? So, we think about farm to table, right? Not only production, raising, whether it's animals or raising that particular crop, but getting all the way to your table. How much or how low of a carbon footprint can we have? So the top of the list is legumes, beans and lentils. Nuts, almonds and walnuts, you guys can see that. Grains like quinoa and oats, and vegetables, super important. We want to think seasonal and local. So we don't want to be in the dead of winter shipping in, vegetables that are not seasonal for us. You want to buy local, get seasonal, and that's going to save all that shipping. It's going to save, any energy expenditure by buying local, always buying local. Fruits, seasonal, local, and olive oil is interesting. That is one with a very low carbon footprint, unlike avocado oil. And the reason that avocados and avocado oil, although delicious, and we do grow some avocados here in this country, a lot of them are shipped in from other countries. And so the carbon footprint is higher on that. Yeah.
But I had heard almonds, they use up so much water, and so
Right.
they were trying to steer people away from.
Definitely compared to walnuts are certainly better than that for almond. Across the board, almonds, and if we're really comparing it to higher carbon emission items like, frankly, meat and meat products, still relatively low next to that, but you're right, walnuts are better than almonds as far as the carbon footprint goes.
I'm sorry, what is carbon footprint?
Meaning how much energy is expended, how much emissions are expended to produce that product.
That product.
Right, that particular product, right. And,
Sorry.
yes,
Just one more question before I forget.
no, please, no.
You were talking about protein.
Mhm.
You can still have the same amount of protein eating vegan.
Right.
What about amino acids?
Well, that's the thing. So some of the things I named off have a full 9 amino acid profile. And then some of the foods you combine to get the 9 amino acids put together. So all soy products have the 9 amino acids. Buckwheat, amaranth, all of those things have the 9 amino acids. But if you want to combine beans and rice, all 9 amino acids. So all you would do is combine those two things. And honestly, I'm kind of glad you asked, because that's a little bit of a fading way of thinking. Really, if you're eating a whole food, plant-based, well-rounded diet, you're gonna get all the amino acids you need without being like half of this, half of that. So really, you can meet all those amino acids. I'm friends with quite a few very big guys who are vegan bodybuilders, and they are whole foods, plant-based. So it's possible for sure. Same parameters as far as your protein intake, your protein requirements would be. So how can you lower your own carbon footprint? You can incorporate 1 or 2 meatless meals per week into your diet, or pull, Sir Paul McCartney had a little song for Meatless Monday back in the day, so you could do a whole Meatless Monday, that would be great. You could certainly choose local and seasonal, like we already talked about, and then you could grow your own, have your own garden, and can and have those vegetables ready all season for yourself. And also buy really intentionally. Buy only what you need so you don't have waste. Buy things with less packaging, right? We don't want as much as processed food. One of the worst things, not only the health part of it, but right? It's packaged. It has a ton of packaging. And so if we can eliminate, all the plastic, we can eliminate buying so much packaged food. And also compost. Compost when you can, because we're really talking about that healthy soil and that healthy soil turnover. And you know what, the fact of the matter is, even the soil in our yards and our gardens, we have to be really careful, because there's been, years of use of pesticides back, for decades that people didn't know. Our dads are out there spraying down the tomato plants or whatever. And, so just be really careful. If you can compost and get that nitrogen content of the soil, switch out things that you're growing and change that nitrogen content, that's gonna be,
And it will remove the carbon from the air.
exactly, precisely. All right, so there we go. So if you have any questions, thank you. If you have any questions, please ask away. Yes.
Talking about the gardens now, so we have a garden at home and we kind of tend to grow the tomato plants in one part of the garden just because the sun kind of travels that way and it's not covered by the trees and stuff. Do you have a suggestion on rotating plants in a spot like that instead where tomato plants were growing?
Right, I mean, you could always grow in, more of the tower type garden situation where you're still turning over the soil, but maybe you can like physically move their location. That would be something to do. Sometimes, it's possible to, if you need the sun, you could switch the location in the yard. Maybe if you have another patch that's sunny, that would probably be the best thing to do, because I know you do need the sun for those,
I think there's a winter grass or something you can plant now to regenerate, And Gilberti's is very good at giving you advice in Westport.
There's also something about convenience, and I want to bring that up, meaning the Amazonian effect. We're completely, let's forget about the phones, but, we're less patient than ever. It's all about convenience. It's the Amazonian effect, but there's also the point of there's less nutrition. So we're a convenient society, but the stats that you showed, they're appealing, especially flexitarian, but there's a lot of variance with that.
Right.
So do you see anything, either of you change, even with your client base that, there's the wheels are turning with less convenience, meaning to your point, more intentional? Anything that you're seeing with your clients that's at least.
When we encourage our clients too to prepare their own food.
That's
okay.
And that is,
all right, that's a big deal.
If you're trying to build or lean down or just promote longevity and cellular health, you want to cook your own food and go as organic as you can, whether it's meat or beans or vegetables. Even though there is some people saying now that some of the organic crops get cross-pollinated from the non-organic crops, but at the end of the day, it's really the best way to go. Yes, it's a little bit more expensive, but it really is to make sure if you're using animal proteins that they're grass-fed, or the eggs are pasture-raised eggs, where the cows can forage, the chickens can run around, you know, those kind of things. So, but we encourage people
And you're
to
seeing that,
cook.
you're seeing, I'm
People,
sure,
you
over
know,
time there.
Sometimes they don't want to cook, but
No, we
That's why I
always,
brought it up, you know.
but it
it's
is
so-
important to make most of your meals. Like I very rarely eat out. I really make my own.
we
food.
encourage them to meal prep, like, we're like, it's Sunday afternoon, get your meal prep done.
And one other quick thing, I'm sorry, Deb, is seed oils. Seed oils are so pro-inflammatory.
Yes, canola.
And canola, vegetables,
Safflower.
soybean, safflower. So you have to look at ingredients when you're buying stuff to look for that, if there's any seed oils in there. And, you know, when you go to restaurants and foods that are prepared for you, most times they're using
And I think that's a
using
big
seed oils.
proponent of women, I'm gonna go with past
Yeah.
50 with inflammation, right?
Yes.
The weight is inflammation.
Joint pain, inflammation.
Where do you guys like to shop?
Whole Foods is great,
Trader
Trader
Joe's.
Joe's, yeah.
And Stop and Shop is good. Their Nature's Promise brand is good.
Mm-hmm.
And they have sale, I buy a lot of their grass-fed beef, and they have, when it's on sale, I'll buy a lot of it and throw it in.
Now, have
throw it
you
in
noticed the
freezer.
difference with regenerative, the grass-fed beef, regenerative from like Whole Foods? Have you done a taste test with the beef? It's a lot
I
more
have
money,
not.
but-
I have not.
Yeah, they
I
have
have
kind of
not.
like that boutique-y brand.
They do, they have, and you can get bison, you can
Yes.
get,
Yeah.
venison, there's a lot of, there's a lot of different lean
We might do a
meats.
taste test another time.
I just stick with good old grass-fed beef. But-
What's it called?
Nature's Promise,
Okay, Nature's
the
Promise.
Stop and Shop brand. And it's great when it's on sale, it's $4.99 for a pound of grass-fed beef, which is
My
pretty
God.
nice. And I'll buy like 10 of
Yeah,
them,
it's good.
throw them in the,
And
my
you can,
boyfriend and I go to the store together, and he's like throwing it in, and I'm like, hey, save some for me.
I'm assuming that you guys are really not big proponents of microwave ovens.
I use it a little bit.
A little, yeah.
Use it a
We
little
just,
bit.
because that's the convenience factor.
Yeah,
That's,
that's
yeah.
one.
I only ask because a friend of mine's an Ayurvedic practitioner and she's with me a lot.
And
She's
it's like,
Deb.
don't
Yeah.
touch it.
And,
She doesn't
Don't
use
hear
it,
it.
does she?
I don't go near it anyway much
Yeah.
at all, if at all. And she's just like, please do not even use that at all, as if
Yeah.
it's like condemned.
Yeah.
You don't wanna put.
I use it a little bit. I do use mine a little bit.
But you never read anything what it does, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
then they'll be
Rather
so you're never gonna read what
But you figure you
But
fly in an
I
airplane
understand
and you get so much,
Yes.
it's like,
the air.
it's, I had an interesting conversation today too with the doctor about mammograms, because they're saying now that mammograms just give you a lot of radiation.
Yeah.
So that was a really interesting conversation, just because we need to have them.
Right.
But he
Yeah.
said that the amount of radiation we get from it is really, really minimal. He said a CAT scan gives you like the most, the max. But mammograms, he said it's such a low dose. And I didn't know this though, but if you're in Connecticut and you do a mammogram, you're also, by state law, entitled to have a sonogram also. So,
Like an ultrasound.
yes, an ultrasound. So if your insurance company tells you they're not gonna cover it, you say, no, I know that you have to do it.
So you have to have it, I have to have it. I have to have both of them.
I
Yeah.
do both as well. It's good to do both,
It
but
is.
Is that the same for Medicare too?
it should be, if you're in the state of Connecticut, do you live in Connecticut? Yeah, it's a state law that you can have a sonogram or an ultrasound, and
Rightfully so.
they have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Insurance has to cover
I can't wait to come.
it. Yeah.
Also for mammograms, you can ask for the thyroid cover when you get it
Oh,
done.
that's a good one too.
So
That's a good
that
one.
the radiation doesn't hit the
Yeah.
thyroid.
Good point.
Go ahead.
The two questions, what is the brand name of the makeup you were talking about? That's Miniter.
I use
No, that's.
the skincare that I use is Alpyn. Has anyone seen it on Instagram? It's ALPYN. It's all plant-based.
I think.
And it's great. It's great products. It really.
Mascara too?
I don't know if they have a cosmetic line, but
Okay.
we can certainly find, there are cosmetic lines out there. But Alpyn it's great, and they have an Instagram presence.
You
can
could
go
also
right on
check
there.
with EWG, you probably use EWG to check, because they list all the ingredients.
And Yucca is another one, I think Rosie said too, right?
Yeah.
Same, they're similar.
You know what else is great? It's a sister and brother line called Naked and Thriving.
Okay.
Yes,
I
yes.
love it.
And that's what, skincare also, body
Yes.
products?
Skincare.
And Good Molecules, that's another good
Well,
one.
you just think about, your skin is
Yeah.
the
It's a
largest
living
organ of your
organism.
body, and we have pores, and as soon as you put stuff on, it's going right into your system.
I just want to say one of the most compelling movies I've ever seen and actually convinced us to become pescatarian, my husband and I, is The Game Changers.
Yeah, it's true.
It's really powerful.
Strongest man in the world is vegan.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Ron, I can't even pronounce his name, I'm sorry.
Patrick, I can't
him?
either.
Him and also Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah,
He's a
yeah.
vegetarian?
Yeah,
I
he's
suppose
really
It
cardiovascular.
was his heart issues, yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah, he switched
So I
over.
just suggested
Patrick
because it's.
I think Bill
Ian.
Clinton is a vegetarian now too.
Yeah.
He became one.
Yeah, he had a few
That's
quadruple
Yes,
bypasses.
yes.
It's a very, very
That
compelling
endurance
movie.
and strength, they needed the extra
I
endurance.
feel like the whole, the guy who just died,
Rob Redford?
no, the wrestler.
Oh,
Okay, yeah, he probably should have been
Yes,
Yeah.
it's true.
What are your thoughts on, oh, sorry. go.
Kate, you go ahead and then
Oh.
I Vanessa.
Oh.
Kate, you go first and then we'll
Yeah,
go to
so what
Vanessa.
are your thoughts on the, I can't remember the name of the supplement, it was with C, it's the one that.
NAC?
Sorry?
The NAC?
No, it starts with C, it's the one that helps.
Cysteine?
your
Creatine?
muscle- Creatine, yes.
Yeah,
So like the fact that it like retains water or some sort of like hydration in the muscle, like what do you think about that? Cause I mean, we've got muscles other than the biceps and the
exactly, we
triceps. So like
we
how?
across the board recommend creatine, because one of the things aside from the muscles is the cognitive effects. So
Okay.
really, to some extent, and you can contradict me if you want, but it's a little bit of a misnomer to say creatine across the board swells you with water. There used to be a lot of theories about front loading big amounts of creatine. We have all of our ladies 1 teaspoon per day. You get the cognitive help, you get the muscle benefits, and we haven't seen anybody retaining water or
Yeah.
anything
You have to
across
use
the
a
board.
lot of it.
Yeah.
Not
this a
like
powder?
backfiring
Yes,
in
yes.
any
Not a
way.
capsule.
Not what?
Well, they
Not
do make it in
backfiring
capsules.
in
With
any
food or
way.
without?
No, 1 to 2 teaspoons a day, throw it in a protein shake, you don't even know it's there. But it's been studied for over 200 years. It's the most studied supplement out there. And for us ladies now too, it's showing that it supports our cognitive health. So,
You'll
for
notice the
anything.
difference.
And how do we get
that
it
through you?
through?
Creatine, yeah, you can get everything through me, so just
She asked, how do you get it
And
through
how do we
food?
get it through?
Creatine?
Food, grass-fed beef.
That's about it?
Are there any vegan sources?
I take a supplement.
Yeah, you can take a
I do, and you can,
yeah.
yeah,
But if you
yeah,
eat-
to
if
be
you-
honest, yeah.
If you eat animal protein, you do get creatine there. But you can buy a supplement, it's a white powder, you don't even, it's tasteless, you can just throw it in a protein shake or mix it in yogurt or something or whatever, you don't, they make supplements too, you can take a pill too.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
This has been incredibly
I know, we can
informative.
really talk
Ask
about
her
it.
away,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, let's go.
I just wanted to give a testimony.
Yes.
So, I signed up with Linda June 1st. And have been benefited too from Coach Leann.
Yes.
But I signed up because I'm at the stage of life beyond midlife,
Do you wanna share how old you are? Cause you look amazing.
77.
Yeah.
And so I work at Nordstrom part-time. I have grandchildren locally, 5. Often I have to be at the house at 7 o'clock before my daughter gets into the city, but then I leave and go to work at 10. But anyway, my life, I was feeling not good, didn't have any energy, and just things like, I was not hungry in the morning. The thought of eggs or cooking, just couldn't do it. But I'd be dead by 10:30 or 11, especially once you start working, there aren't many breaks. So anyway, they got me on a diet with the supplements. And what a game changer for me is overnight oats. So put oats in almond milk and just have that ready for you in the morning, So as you're planning your day, get that, maybe bananas and berries in that. Oh, and that's mixed with protein powder. So that's where you're starting off the day. And sometimes I'll actually have it just as a snack. But that changed because I would start off the day with protein finally, and I haven't done that in years. And there are just other little things to tweak that I can add. I'm basically a meat person, just historically. I'm from Texas, honey. But now I realize that I intentionally added, now I have the sliced vegetable, like celery and carrots and a little hummus. I just made myself, I don't like veggies, but I've added some to it.
Truly intentional.
Yeah,
Really
and your energy levels are better. because
Yeah,
she's-
energy level.
Her output was a lot, but her input was very low. So I'm like, Liz, you're
Yeah,
not,
and I
you
need that,
need
so
to eat.
I get going and I don't like breaks.
all day, yeah.
So anyway, I just feel, I know I'm not Superwoman yet, but I can make it through my days
Right,
better.
sustain,
Yeah.
sustain.
And also kind of look forward to it, you know? And also, and this was not a goal, I've lost 10 pounds.
Wow.
Just solidly
That's
without not counting, and I know I should have done the 4 gram. I just kind of guesstimate, you know? So it's not, I wasn't, you know, I mean, do I have this here and what's that? No. Just trying to follow the guidelines in general.
Yeah, you're
And
doing great.
10 pounds is, you know.
Lost a little bit of weight, you have more energy.
Yeah, I feel great. So anyway, it's just focusing, having an outline of what you want to achieve, and just living more healthily.
Yeah.
Also, one last thing. I have to have a margarita every
there you go.
night.
I have to have it. I love
Sometimes
it.
that would be 2.
That's very
After work, yeah, oh God, you wouldn't believe what happened today.
And tell them how many margaritas you have now. Oh, yeah.
0.
0.
I was gonna say, I knew where that was going.
Yeah, alcohol goes under the toxin.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
Yeah.
seriously toxic.
I know.